Now that preseason's been out for a while and it's the last patch, one last patch before the season begins, it's finally time for me to reveal the Yorick build of 2023. Us Yorick players are very lucky to try a bunch of different stuff within this new preseason. We have a lot of new tools to work with, and I can safely say that I have found the best build for Yorick overall and the new 1v9 build if you want to smash games out. Now drum roll please! This is the build. Yes, I know, it looks very strange, it's very unconventional to the normal Yorick build that I suggest, but I'm going to give good reasoning on every single new item added in and why it's good specifically on Yorick. So the first item in this new build will be Ravenous Hydra. Ravenous Hydra got a huge buff over this preseason patch. They basically made it so that it gives a lot more AD and you can stack the AD whenever you farm minions and monsters. This is a huge buff because now you have a massive stat stick of almost 85 attack damage when you fully stack it up. And also, getting minions is a really easy thing to do with Yorick in general. You can send ghouls to do the dirty work on the side lane, but also, Ravenous Hydra's Tiamat effect lets you just clear waves in an instant. Another thing they buffed with Ravenous Hydra, which is the second part, is the fact that they made the cleave damage a lot more consistent. So before with Ravenous Hydra, the damage it did on its cleave was based on how far the unit was. Now, if you proc the Tiamat effect, it will do its full damage to all the units it touches. This means if I E the backline minion, it will always do a huge amount of damage and basically one-shot it. And that's one of the biggest reasons why Ravenous Hydra has become a really good item on Yorick. If you merely E the wave and just order the backline, it will one-shot the entire backline and it's just all gone. This makes it clear so much more faster and lets you shove waves in an instant. And when you shove waves in an instant, you can poke the enemy down with very little counterplay just to the fact that you have so much range of E, right? Another reason why it's really powerful is that it gives you sustain. Yorick has almost no sustain in his kit except for his Q and it's really bad. So this makes it so that you have a little bit more to work with, right? And another reason, the final reason on why Ravenous Hydra is just a really good item in Yorick now, is because there's a new combo it adds to your kit. So one of the things that Yorick players might do or know is when you have Maiden out, it will spawn ghouls whenever an enemy unit dies. Pretty normal, everyone knows that, right? So what you can do with Ravenous Hydra is you can E the enemy and start clearing a bunch of minions, and because you have Ravenous Hydra, so it clears the wave really quickly, it's going to spawn a bunch of ghouls at the enemy with no counterplay. All of this at the same time, you're doing extra damage of E because it procs the Tiamat effect, and also you're getting sustain off the minions. This makes it a really powerful item. It gives you a lot of damage, tankiness because of the sustain, and utility with its wave clear. Now the second addition that has come to Yorick's arsenal in his item builds is Spear of Shojin. Now this came as a surprise to me, and I'm sure it's a surprise to you guys. When I first saw this item, I just thought, oh, it's not going to be good. One, Yorick doesn't really care about ability haste too much because he already builds a lot of it anyways. And two, the extra movement speed you get from Spear of Shojin doesn't even affect the Yorick ghouls because it's percent based. The only way you increase the Yorick ghouls movement speed is if you increase the base movement speed rather than percentages. So I thought it was going to be really bad, right? But no. After playing a few games, I've realized it's an incredibly powerful item in Yorick, especially in the later stages of the game. The reason it's really powerful is because this movement speed that Shojin gives is a lot more powerful than even I expected. 15% may not seem a lot, however, one thing to note is that when Spear of Shojin gives you movement speed, it doesn't tell the enemy at all and there's no indicator that you're getting extra movement speed. So randomly you're just mid-combat and you're running faster and faster and the enemy won't know why. This movement speed can be used to dodge stuff, land your stuff, it's just really powerful. Having this movement speed from Shojin lets you use the maneuverability and sustainability from Ravenous Hydra and play fights slower and steadily. Also, it lets you spam E and W a crazy amount. If you got a full ability haste build, you can have an infinite W and you can have E on a 3-second cooldown. Having E on a 3-second cooldown means ghouls will be jumping at the enemy constantly. Every 3 seconds, that's crazy, think about it, right? And I'm not even gonna get started on the Q cooldown. You guys can see that for yourself. Now this new Yorick build has sustain, insane damage output because of Shojin, and also really good movement speed with the Shojin. I will say about this Yorick build though is, even though it has a lot of new strengths, it has one weakness that I will talk about. And that weakness is that it's a lot less tanky than the other Yorick builds. The standard Yorick build runs Cleaver. Not having Cleaver in your build makes you really squishy, and you have a lot less health overall. You can see there's only 2 health items being Hullbreaker and Shojin. So unless you're a really good Yorick player and you know how to use Shojin move speed, you know how to use WE effectively, you can find yourself struggling to live in longer fights. With that being said though, you can use the older Yorick builds, they all still work amazingly. I just found this new Yorick build and I think it is genuinely the best. It will be the build I'll be using to climb on AEST. And I cannot wait to go there to show how powerful it is. With that being said, I'm going to talk about the quick meta shift and the quick balance changes because I know some of you guys are pretty curious about it and how the meta will change, right? So the first thing will be a Dr. Mundo nerf. Now, originally before the Dr. Mundo nerfs, I will say that it was an easy matchup anyways. Some people told me they struggled in it, but honestly, it's not a hard matchup if you go armor pen items. Grush and Cleaver are vital. If you go those items, Mundo will get ripped apart and he cannot survive. If you want to spice it up and just purely brutalize him down, add in a Sunderer, alright? Also, it is really important to go Hullbreaker because you need to take his stats because he does a lot of damage right now. Hecarim nerf is very nice, he's going to do less damage. He's still going to be OP though, so don't expect too big of a change. I don't think this Jungler change will do anything at all. This Tank Lilia nerf is very nice. Right now, Jackshaw Lilia is just completely dominating the Rift, so I'm glad to see her become weaker. She's still going to be very OP, but a little less. And that's what matters, right? Lux buff means that she might come back to the meta. It'll be really nice if she comes back to the meta because she struggles in dealing with the ghouls a lot. And something you can do is when you send your ghouls at Lux, you can walk behind the ghouls and she can't Q you. And this makes it so that you can easily get on top of her and she can't really counterplay because she has no Q to stop you, right? Nala seems to be getting a buff. Overall though, I don't think this will affect the meta too much because I think Nyla suffers the fundamental issue right now of just not having much ranges in ADC. And right now someone like Zeri, who is very, very good, can cut the living shit out of her and she'll still be a struggle, right? Ravenous nerf is nice. Funnily enough, I actually struggle playing against Ravenous because he is insanely tanky. He gets a lot of armor and MR, and him getting a little less will always be nice, right? Udyr nerf so that he can't one-shot you with Q. Zed nerf is really, really good because right now Zed has been dominating. I hate Zed. He really abused Ravenous Hydra. And something worth noting is Ravenous Hydra also got nerfed this patch. So this means that Zed is getting a double nerf with Ravenous Hydra being nerfed as well, right? So he's actually going to be quite a bit worse. And for those wondering, no, the nerfs of Ravenous Hydra are not that impactful at all and it won't affect Yorick. Of course it hurts us a little bit, but Yorick's wave clear is still way too good with Ravenous Hydra to give up. Jackshaw getting a nerf is actually really good for us because we didn't use Jackshaw that well, meanwhile a lot of our competitors did. So all our other matchups where the enemy is going Jackshaw will be a lot easier. I know Aatrox, which is historically a very good Yorick matchup, has been a nightmare of Jackshaw, where he goes Ravenous Jackshaw and he cannot die. So this will hurt him a lot, he'll be a lot less tanky, and he might actually be beatable. Camps are worth a little less money, that should mean jungle Yorick is going to be a bit weaker. However, other junglers like the enemy jungle will get less money as well. So honestly, I'd say this is good, because it lets the enemy struggle harder to snowball, which gives us more time to scale up. With that being said, those are all the changes this patch. I know there were other changes, but I think they're a little bit too old for me to cover, and I feel like the meta sort of settled in, so we sort of already know what's good and what's bad. I know I haven't done this video in a while, but rest assured, I'm going to be starting to do this series again because I think it's really fun to talk about it. I think it's really fun to talk about the changes that happen in each patch, and it's just fun to see what my predictions are. Also, here are the 2 viable rune pages in this current patch on Yorick. There are also more other viable pages, but these are just very good general runes. I will say though, there is a specific rune page I am currently trying out, and if it works out well, I will talk about it. But let's just say that it's a, domination, if you get what I'm saying.